Hello everybody, welcome back to the workshop. So in this video, we're going to do a little different type of video. I want to share with you some of the top power hammers and treadle hammers that are available to you out there as a blacksmith, both a beginner and a professional. And I'm going to share with you my top picks and what I consider basically the industry standard that can be obtained out there by you. So without further ado, let's get into the computer here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, the very first professional grade hammer that I want to take and bring to your attention is this treadle hammer. This is a Clay Spencer style inline treadle hammer that you can pick up over at blacksmithsupply.com. I will mention that none of these hammers that I'm mentioning today am I sponsored by whatsoever in any sort of way. This is just mainly me doing a quick Google search and some of my top picks for hammers. So you might find a hammer, or you have a different hammer that maybe I didn't mention or I forgot to mention on this list. Please comment down below what those hammers are. But anyways, so this is an inline treadle hammer. As you can see, it's basic gray steel. They do have a paint option that you can add to the hammer for another $325, sandblasting and paint. So this way it's all painted up pretty for you. Now all these prices, obviously you would have to take and get freighting quotes as well from the companies. Now I will state this, that I am not sponsored by any of these companies that I am reviewing today or that I'm mentioning to you here on the website. This is simply just a quick Google search of hammers. So be sure to check out these different companies. I think they're all pretty much the industry standard, but you'll have to do your own research and your own due diligence there. So there you go. There's a treadle hammer. That's an inline treadle hammer for $2,300 US. That is before freighting, and that's before you do any sort of painting. Now, one of the next kind of neat hammers that a lot of people don't know about is this Ka75 power hammer. The Ka75 power hammer, for those of you who haven't watched anything, you can Google some YouTube videos and things like that on it. These hammers here, they are a very neat concept. They are a single stroke, so every time you press down the air treadle, the air pedal, it makes one singular stroke. It's got two separate pistons on it, and it comes down with a 75-pound ram weight. And it's very similar, again, to kind of having a striker strike for you. Now, one thing that this has as a nice design is because of the way that it's built, it holds the dies perfectly in line like a traditional power hammer would, and and the guides are fairly simple. So these are a very compact unit and great for a small shop. This is $4,250. That's power hammer with dies, which is pretty cool. They run off a fairly small air supply, but again, that doesn't include freighting to your location, so you'll have to look into what freighting costs are. But again, that's the Ka75 hammer. I've been enamored by those hammers for a long time, and I wouldn't even mind having one in my shop. I've just never had the $4,250 to throw down on it. So the next one on the list is this Kinz custom iron. Now, many people know Kinz custom iron. He is a well-known figure and name in the blacksmithing field and the trade around blacksmithing groups and clubs and organizations. Kinz custom iron, he's the purveyor of his quick tongs and his rapid tongs, not the cheap knockoffs that are on Amazon, but he was the originator of those tongs where you twist the jaw on them and then you forge them out, and they're all like a plasma cutout tong there. And so he offers a 75-pound ram hammer for $6,995. What's neat about this hammer is it actually has, the main feature it has is it has a treadle, it has a linkage system that is very similar to old steam hammers, the way steam hammers used to operate when they went from a utility hammer, which is just like a drop type hammer situation, to a hammer that actually cycles. So he adopted a very similar similar valving situation with a lot of adjustability. There's a lot of good smiths out there that have these hammers in their shop. So definitely worth checking out if you have the cash on hand. And again, that's before freighting. He also has I believe it's a KZ100, so he has a 100-pound ram weight hammer as well, and I'm not sure what the price is on there, but again, very high quality built tool for a professional use in your shop or hobbyist. You're going to get tons of use and decades stuff. Ken's been around the business for a long time. He's been building these hammers for a very, very long time, over 25 years. So you can trust that he's going to be around for a long time to come. So the next thing on that list, again, following along that kind of same vein of like a utility air hammer, is this Big Blue 65 Max. Now, if you've noticed a theme here, I've tried to keep all the ram weights somewhat similar, with the exception of the next hammer in line. I've been trying to keep all the ram weights comparable. Now, you could get a 100-pound an MZ100 from Kinz Custom Iron, and it'll have different specs, and it'll be a totally different price point. I just wanted to compare what the cheapest hammer or offerings of all these different professional-made hammers are out there. I wanted to compare all of those for you in one cohesive video. So yeah, so this Big Blue 65 Max, this is sold by Big Blue. That's the name of them. If you've ever been around to SOFA, they usually set up tents there, or Blade Show, and they've been all around. This hammer comes in at $7,495. Now, I don't have a picture here to take and show you on this, but this hammer actually cycles off of having like limit switches, if you will. So it has two little fingers on the top and bottom that sets the stroke length. Now, some people like that, some people don't. That stroke length is adjustable, but it's not adjustable as you're running the hammer. So say you want to take longer strokes on something or make the ram run high for tooling, you have to slide and adjust the strokes up higher, and there's a whole process that you have to do that. Or if you're doing a lot of drawing out on a little small bar stop, you can adjust those two sliding limiter valves down a lot closer to the anvil dies, and it will make it short stroke a lot quicker. So it'll run faster and not the same big long stroke each and every time. So it has a lot of versatility to it. Again, it is a utility air hammer. All of these were the MZ 75, so this is the MZ75, the KA75, and well, the Treadle Hammer is just foot control, but the MZ75, the KA75, the MZ75, and the 65 here from Big Blue Max, these are all what you call a utility air hammer. So you have to supply the air separately, so you do have to have a substantial compressor to run these hammers. Most of them recommend at least a 60-gallon air compressor. Let's see what Big Blue says here. They don't say right here, at least I'm not going to read into it enough to look. Well, let's see here. They say it runs effectively at 90 PSI. They don't give information here specifically on what size air compressor, but when I've talked to them in the past, you need a minimum of about a 60-gallon air compressor to run their hammer effectively in a production mindset or type of situation. So moving on from them, again, they were $7,495, and that is not necessarily shipped. You may have to inquire about freighting on that. The next one is the gold standard now in the US that everybody drools about when it comes to a professionally manufactured hammer nowadays that is out there and available to you, and that is the Yang USA Power Hammer and Hydraulic Press Company. They've been around a long time. They've been in America a long time. They have different purveyors of these tools all over the place, all over the world. They have different sales reps that handle the sales and the importing of the hammers, and then, you know, in the shipping, and they take care of all that. James, I believe it's James Johnson, USA, he is the guy that you get in contact with this to take and get one of these hammers. Now this one, I went a little lighter on the actual hammer ram weight because to compare, to make it comparable in price, right? Their cheapest option is a 33-pound, you know, self-contained power hammer. Now this is different than a utility air hammer. A utility air hammer, you have to supply your air. This has its own air compressor built in, basically. It has a piston in the cylinder on a cam that strokes, and that supplies all the air that is needed for the ram to go up and down. This hammer here, you know, you're going to be looking at about $7,650. Of course, this is the most expensive of all the hammers. And now, one thing about it supplying its own airflow is it does punch above its weight class. So this 33-pound hammer probably hits closer to like one of the 60-pound, you know, utility air hammers that we have been taking a look at. So it's not too far off the marks as far as its hitting energy and everything like that, even though it has a much lighter ram weight, because you get a full amount of pressure down on that downstroke. And so whatever that's running at, you're getting all that extra poundage, you know, pound per square inch on your material. But if you are interested in their bigger stuff, I will jump up to their 68. I'll say I'm not connected to the internet. Of course not. Let's try to reconnect this real quick. Connect, please. See if it goes. Go back. Give it a second. Always when you're in the middle of always when you're in the middle of film recording, ain't it? There we go. Now we're back up and going. So with their 68-pound hammer, you are going to look at, if we were looking at just purely ram weight alone, is $9,450. Now, I have had the opportunity to take and use everything but the Ka75 power hammer, and I can tell you this, that a 68-pound ram weight hammer of Engyang will outperform all of the other hammers bar none. It punches way above that 66-pound ram weight, so don't let that kind of fool you. It will hammer very, very hard, and you can move some major material with it. So I've got a good buddy of mine. His name is Jamie Geyer. He's got one of these in his shop, and it's what he's used almost exclusively, and I've done a lot of big forging under that hammer, including a 27-pound sledgehammer under that hammer, and was able to forge it fairly effectively. So definitely a good hammer. All right, so last but not least, I want to go in. You might say, you know, this is all well and fine, right? If you have $9,000, if you have $10,000, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 to spend, again, the Treadle Hammer at Blacksmith Supply, we're looking at, say, $2,300, right? So at $2,300 on the Treadle Hammer, it's just manual. You know, maybe you can upgrade it later on and make it to where it can forge away like a power hammer. Again, it's generally not used for that, but say that's what you want to go with. You're still going to be looking at probably $400 or $500 in freight minimum. So, you know, again, you're looking at $2,800, maybe $3,000 with taxes out the door, right? $3,000. That's an awful big pill to swallow if you're getting into professional forging equipment. So that is why I have created this. So here's the only part where I'll say I'm sponsored by myself. This is something we offer at blacksmithingblanks.com. This is the Treadle Hammer Kit with Air Assist. The Air Assist you can see in this picture right next to it with just the Air Assist only. That's what goes on to this sledgehammer type Treadle Hammer Kit. This is a swing arm treadle hammer. Much different. This is a lot different than the inline treadle hammer. This is swinging an arc, so there is an arch to this, and there's a little bit of setup that you'll have to do instead of like with the inline treadle hammer. And then if you're just looking for the regular treadle hammer, there you go, 500 big ones, right? And this is shipped $500 shipped anywhere in the United States. That's $700 shipped anywhere in the United States. And that's $200 shipped anywhere in the United States. So, again, this is a great option. And again, disconnect from the internet. Let me get this back connected again. We're having internet issues, apparently. Go to the next screen, let that load up. Come on now. Work with daddy, work with it. I want to go over to my 5G network, try that. It says we're connected. Go here. Okay, so with the Treadle Hammer and the Air Assist, $700 shipped. You can use for a limited time right now the Treadle Ship coupon code right in checkout, and you get the shipping for free. It attaches to your 2x4 stud in your garage. You can attach it to really whatever you want, make up your own brackets for it, use your imagination how you want to do it. But the whole thing's been designed around a singular 2x4, like dimensional lumber 2x4, that you can hook the thing onto. As you can see, this whole thing, it's adjustable. The bracket is adjustable. It fits many different style hammers as well. It has a lot of adjustability in the springs, so you can adjust its hit position. And it's an air-assisted treadle hammer. So the air cylinder pulls down on the treadle hammer, and you can use the chain to take and connect it to the foot treadle to pull down on the treadle hammer. So it is a very great use of best of both worlds, if you will. Now, before I try to sell this too much, and I know there's people who've probably already checked out, say, oh, you're just trying to show your own product there, Roy. I'm trying to show you that there is a better option. This is what's so transformative about my Treadle Hammer kits with Air Assist with you here. Is this hammer comparable to, let's go over, blacksmithsupplies.com's inline treadle hammer that Clay Spencer designed? No, absolutely not. It's comparable in the fact that it's a treadle hammer and you can use it in treadle mode, but there's at Clay Spencer's, they don't have an air cylinder attached to it. I do on mine. Can you put one on it? You probably could. They're not in the same realm of what they do. The ram on this treadle hammer is it comes in heavy. I forget what it is. I want to say it's like 60 or 70. Let's see, your hammer ram is approximately 65 pounds. So it's a ram weight of 65 pounds. My Blacksmith Treadle Hammer Kit here, that is a 12-pound sledgehammer in there. You have to supply your own anvil and your own actual hammer that you have laying around in your shop, I'm sure, out there, and that's going to dictate how much hitting energy you can do. At maximum, I figure you can go up to about a 35-pound ram using my kit, to take and build for yourself. So again, it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, if you will. This comes fully assembled. The one over here at blacksmithsupply.com, not trying to disparage them at all. This comes fully assembled and shipped to you. So theoretically, you offload it off the truck and get to hammering. My treadle, you'll have to assemble it yourself, but it's all bolt together. So again, there's a lot of options out there for you to decide what you would like to do when you start getting into the power tooling and equipment. My goal with my Treadle Hammer kits and my Air Assist kits and where I'm going with my tooling is try to take and keep costs as low as possible and as entry level as possible. My hammers and what I design and my power hammers, they will never be at the same level as Yang or Kinz Custom Iron or even the Ka75 power hammer or the big blue manufacturers of the world. They won't ever be at that task, but they are a good starter option for you. So there's my case, there's my shield, there's my sales pitch for that. But at any rate, these are the main hammers that I would say in the space. I'll exclude myself from that. From what I've talked about, the Blacksmith Supply, the Clay Spencer Treadle Hammer, that's a good one. The Ka75 Striking Hammer is a good one. The Kinz Custom Iron, I believe it's an MZ75 power hammer. That's a good one to get. The Big Blue 65 Max, again, they sell a much bigger hammer, so does Kinz. Those are great ones to get into if you have the coinage to spend. And then you have the Mac Daddy of them all, which is the Ang Yang hammer, which, you know, is the dream boat, right? But not everybody's garage has space for such a huge hammer. So something to keep in mind, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's a bit of a longer one. I hope it was informative for you, as you know, if you're looking into getting into power hammers and different options. And I hope this video will help, you know, consolidate everything in one spot for you. So that's it for today. God bless each and every last one of you. Thank you to all the channel members that make this content possible. Thank you to everyone who has been supporting my business and buying the Treadle Hammer kits over at blacksmithingblanks.com. I really greatly appreciate that support, and I hope you guys will give that a check out as well. So that's it. God bless. We'll catch you on the next one.